Let's get it. Before we even get into it, there's not even much for me to say. So I'm just going to let Pep handle things.
But yeah, Chelsea was the real proof. We play in difficult conditions. We were not ready to compete against them, but we did it. And we play good? No. We were stable? No. But we found a way. We found a way to win and reach the final. So sometimes when you play in 60, 65 games a season, the people say, you are not playing like the previous games. What do you expect? It's impossible to play at highest level all the time. Impossible. But the important is when you are not in your highest level, be consistent and take the points and win games. And normally it's happened to us at the end of the seasons, and that is so important.
Of the season, yeah. It's good to win beautifully. It's that time of the year now where we saw it, we felt it. With Champions League, we were the better team. It doesn't matter. You just win. And that is the mindset that we all need to shift. It can be 1-0. It can be 4-3. I don't care. As long as we get those 3 points, because that is needed. And more so in this final. It's another derby in front of us. I think every match for the rest of the season, it's going to be hideous. We're going to have to buckle up. Get ready. Get set. Prepare yourselves mentally. Because it's going to be rough, y'all. I hope you're ready. I'm not sure. We're making our bed.
I hate the most is when you don't want the ball. I hate it. You have permission to make a mistake. You have permission to lose. You have permission.
And that's when we get big.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
Attack everyone and send everyone.
I think we're forgetting the most important thing. We're forgetting about focusing just on ourselves.
But we can do better. We need to take the next step, and there's no better place than taking the next step here.
Show ourselves out there how much we want to win it again.
We win 4 of the last 5 Premier League, guys. 4 of the last 5 Premier League. Are we going to do it again?
Don't ask me again about doubles, triples, quadruples, fifth-tuples, six-tuples, and seven-tuples. So...
Don't do it. Hey, and welcome to episode 99. Woo! Of Shades of
Niggas debating my numero, not the 3, not the 2 on the UNO.
We are America's. Let's try that again. We are the most comprehensive show about Manchester City, covering both the men and women's game, spanning both sides of the Mason-Dixon line. We making art over here. Capitalize the A. I am Crunk Chocolate, here with my show bros, Tarik, Sharpie. How you doing?
Feeling good. We got that win today. Got 2 wins today, 6-point day, so feels great.
6-point Sunday, clean sheet Sunday, just
Let's go.
Best football club in Europe Sunday. Yeah.
Before we get into anything at all, what I need you to do right now, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for us. Like this video, please. Please and thank you. Show us some love. Leave a comment on what you thought on the episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, any of those podcast streaming services that allows you to rate and review, please do that. Give us a 5-star and say a few nice words about us, about the show, about maybe one of us characters. Have some fun. Then Thursday, let's stream. Hey, the most dangerous show about football. 3 most dope guests. Saul, he's coming back for his monthly visit. We actually only have 3 shows left. 3 lit streams left, baby. Saul, the homie Curva Mundial, Sal, and then Sunshine. So we got triple S's. Sal, Saul, Sunshine. It's gonna be a good time. And yeah, the match against Wolves, that's a nice early match. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Tap in with us. In today's episode, we're gonna do until I guess we catch up into 2024 with episode 124. We're just gonna talk about our favorite albums of that year. This is a good way to kind of decompress a little bit from the footballing nonsense insanity before we get into it. I've grown quite fond of this segment. Actually, it makes me go back to when I was doing my acapella rhymes before we started and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, I forgot how tapped in musically we were. So it's kind of bringing those feelings back. I love it. Actually, Tarik, I want you to go first, if you don't mind. What is your favorite album of 1999?
I really don't know, man. At some point, I stopped listening to music. To be honest with you, I just listen to sports radio all the time. But I will.
Nas I Am came out that.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, if it's on the radio, I listen to it. But like, yeah, whatever. Like I said, I kind of quit listening. But I will tell you, because
Around 99,
I'm probably the only person that's gonna ever do this, I will give you another gospel CD, and it's by a group called New Direction out of Chicago.
Oh, let's go. New Direction.
Yeah.
Wow. I see. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this every single year and every single episode. Tarik, you're gonna have to dig deep. You're gonna.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna run out of all these. I'm gonna run out of everything. I ain't gonna have nothing for you.
You're gonna
like
be like,
Sirius
I have another
XM.
gospel album
I don't
for
know.
you.
We're gonna have to take it down to singles. We can go from albums to singles.
That I could probably get with. I could probably do that.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a nice way to mix it up, you know.
Yeah. If you can't think of an album, what was the song of the year for you? Yeah, no, I'm all right with that. Sharpie, what you got?
Man, last week in '98 did the DMX double and his city back early, But I got to go back to Jay-Z, man. Like December 28th, 1999. So it was at the very end of the year that the album dropped, but the songs, and I guess it's kind of I'm gonna say it, but it's like everybody knows those songs took off in 2000, right? Because the album dropped, then the songs got big. Like Big Pimpin' was the song of 2000 summer. But the album officially came out December 28th, 99. And let me just tell you some of these songs, man. Like, as a 9-year-old, I'm just like loving life. Like, Things That You Do, Mariah Carey, Some Like It Hot. My personal favorite as a child, for some reason, was Snoopy Track with Juvenile. I don't know why it stood out to me. Maybe it was the name of the song. Maybe it's because Juvenile had just did, he had 400 Degrees, so I knew his voice, and putting them together was crazy to me. S. Carter, You Must Try Harder. Competition is nada. And then, of course, Big Pimpin'. And, there was a long period of life, people asked my favorite song. I always said Big Pimpin', mainly because of the music video. I just thought it was, the epitome of, what I wanted to try one day.
I know, right?
Experience.
Living it up. Yeah, right?
Clinking bottles on boats, beautiful women around. What a scene. But no, the album, 9-year-old me wasn't having. What about you, Crunk? What you got from the 99?
Hey, I have a few albums that I want to shout out before I get to my choice, because there really were some bangers that year. Starting off with the best rapper alive before the moniker, Lil Wayne. He dropped The Block Is Hot. Southern Crunk, little young Crunk. The block is hot. The block is hot. Oh man, and the best rapper alive. Oh man, had the streets crazy. Naturally, that song drop it like it's hot. Went to, Juvenile. He just really actually listening to the songs earlier today. I was transported to playing basketball at the Boys and Girls Club with the friends, and They had like the tapes of Lil Wayne and a bunch of other artists in their boom boxes and stuff. Yikes. Anyway, Most Def, Black on Both Sides, Roots, Things Fall Apart. Oh my gosh, Erica Badu. Ooh, that song still just does things to me. Ja Rule's Veni Vidi Vinci, Ludacris's Incognito, but my choice, Red and Meth's Blackout. DeRock Ryler. To this day, you play that anywhere. I mean, I'll play it sometimes at Touch Tunes, and that's the thing that'll give me just that, like break your neck. There are just some songs in the '90s that innately just gets me up and will make a dance floor if there ain't one. We'll keep it moving to Baby Blue Baddies. Town Bomb isn't here. So there are a couple things got to cover. Naturally, City Women. They played Bristol, and we got to give Lauren Hemp some love. But first, yes, City. So first off, let's start with Lauren Hemp. First thing I see when I wake up is just Legos, all just a blue soccer ball, and I already knew exactly what it meant. I'm taking my dog out, drowsily walking down my stairs. It's 6:15 in the morning, and they say you're not supposed to touch your phone immediately when you wake up, but who cares? I'm already outside. It's a thing. I'm already about to touch grass. Can't hate on me. Open up the app. I see that, and I just go, yes! Like super loud. And I probably scared anybody who was around me. I apologize to them. It was good. My dog, she had handled business. We ran because I was just so joyful. We ran to the garbage to put her food or poo away. Ran back to the house and did a little jig. Naturally had all the fun on Twitter. Truly, social media lights up in the best way whenever it comes to City Women. I really do enjoy it. Yeah, what is Lauren Hemp, her extension? What does that mean to the club?
I mean, it's solidity. It's keeping a world class player who was sought after, right? Like that's huge.
Yes.
Somebody who it's amazing what happens when you actually know you're going to be playing in Champions League, because I don't think she is back. She resigns if we aren't top two, like that. Over on the Champions League places. So just having such a incredible season, longest win streak in season in WSL history, and she's been a huge part of it. Team of the season, probably. So like, I feel like we are now set up. That front three is locked in. I think everyone is under contract. I think you shouted out Niels in a tweet, right? It is what he's done in a calendar year. Everybody's locked up, and that's all you can ask for is continuity, greatness, and keeping that greatness together. So yeah.
If you aren't signed, they got you out of here, basically.
I think this says as much off the pitch as it does on. There was a feeling like every big player that we had was subject to move to Spain or somewhere else, right? It was just, if someone else came in, we didn't have the wherewithal to be able to hold on to them. So knowing that she was wanted in Spain, knowing that there was discussion about her leaving, and looking like she was going to join the train of folks that have kind of exited, to be able to hold on to her is a big statement. It's a big testament to again to the club. But I do agree with Charlie. I don't think it happens if we're not in the position that we are in, which is UWCL place, and with the shout to win league. I said it I don't know, a month ago or a couple weeks ago that I think we're going to win it. And, so far so good. Let's just hope we can continue to pull it out. But I think this is an amazing, amazing story. And I think like I said, it says that we've maybe gone up another level, or that the table that we sit at is a little bit higher than maybe it was in previous seasons.
And I'll add on about that table, Tarik, is like for the longest time in the WSL, at least the last, like I would say, 3 to 4 years, it's been Chelsea and Arsenal. And now, you look at where we are and it's like, oh no, especially with Emma leaving, we keep our manager. They got to bring in a new manager. They got new players. Like we have all the advantages to now like kind of get into our era of dominance. And like if this season is any indication of what's to come, because players normally don't get worse, the future looks extremely bright. And that's yeah, having so many quality players is a great problem to have for a manager.
Yes, and that is the exact problem that he is going to have, specifically next year, because this game, the last few games actually, have highlighted the depth of the squad. The obviously Kirsten, she was suspended because her expletive hand gesture that she made towards Manchester United fans. She still was benched in the beginning of this match versus Bristol. Keating in goal, going from left to right. Wahabi, Greenwood, Kennedy, Alexandri. Midfield of Hasagawa, Coombs, and Park. Lauren Hemp, Kelly, and Fowler were our top three. I was intrigued to see who was going to play the false nine, the striker position, because when Bunny went out, Chloe Kelly came in, but she wasn't the most effective in that position, and they shifted everybody around a lot, and I just assumed I was going to see a lot more of that against Bristol. The match, all 4 goals happened in the second half. The first half was not great. Bristol were bringing it to us at moments. For the most part, City women, they just had the possession. But Bristol, again, they look like the team with the most heart. They look like a team. They didn't look like a team that was basically relegated. If City were to have won this match, Bristol City officially would be in relegation. They were 8 points behind West Ham, above them. Chances are they were going to get relegated. City just put the nail in the coffin. It wasn't until the second half, thankfully, Mary Fowler with some brilliance. Yui Hasagawa making a very brave pass. It broke 2 lines of defenders. I want to say there were like 3 players around that ball that stood no chance. She just passed it right through them. Mary Fowler turned. She had some space around her, took a couple dribbles, and just yeeted that boy. Woo! With nice little curve left into the top corner. What was hilariously infuriating, angering, was throughout the match, every single shot at goal that City had was directly at the keeper. Like, directly. The keeper didn't have to move at all. It was a good 6-7 shots from 4-5 different players. It was insane. So finally, Mary Fowler makes the difference with a golazo. From there, subs. Coombs off. Well, actually, let me get it. I got ahead of myself. At halftime, Kirsten Castoride comes on, and she's actually a huge difference. A lot of calm, but then when Lauren Blinkelde Brown came on for Laura Coombs, that's when all the goals. So Blinkelde Brown came on the 73rd minute. The second goal was in the 75th minute. The third goal, 77th minute. the moment she came out, she's so forward, she's so direct. There were so many times she'd get the ball, she'd make the pass, and she's immediately like putting her hand like, ball, give me. And then they didn't give her the ball most of the time, but she would drag a player, which would get space. And that was kind of what we needed in that match.
So, Crumb, because I wasn't able to watch, I have a question, and this might help listeners too. Was she playing more in the like what position was she playing in where she was making those runs? Was it like from midfield up, or was she like starting on the forward line?
She just replaced Coombs. She was Coombs, basically. Like
Okay, so
her
midfield. Gotcha.
position.
Yeah.
So a midfield. She was just playing really high, and whoever would drop back. But Bristol, they were playing very defensively. They had the multiple banks and they were just trying to attack on the counter, which fed right into the style that Man City were trying to play. I know LBB, she's young. She very much thinks about the attack more than the defense. But I want her to start. I think we need to see what this looks like. We're giving her just 10 minutes at a time. I know this is a lot to put on her. I know it's a lot to put on her. Or maybe we need to see more. I need to see more than like 10, 15 minutes. I want to see 30, 40, 50 minutes maybe. It's just with Bunny out, there is Jess Park is really the only person with teeth. Fowler is great, but Chloe Kelly, she does the moment she gets a ball, especially when she's playing the false nine, you're supposed to be thinking to shoot, but she's still trying to make one more pass. And I don't know. I think we need someone more direct. And then maybe CK can kind of drop back, get the ball, distribute, and everybody else can kind of run forward. And maybe Chloe can kind of come in and with a trail and back pass and maybe launch her long shots that she enjoys. I don't know. It's just she's naturally she's not a false nine, and that's not her position. She's more of a distributor. So I just want to see her in a position to succeed because Mary Fowler, she's obviously not going anywhere. Miss Park's not going anywhere. We got Joe. We just have so many players that, again, the priority to give CK the ball has diminished greatly, in my opinion. And I'm just worrying what that means for her in the squad in the future. And not saying she's gone, but I don't think her importance is going to be there.
I think I disagree, right? I think she is really important. It's very similar to on the men's side, like last year, right? Holland comes in, Jesus leaves, and like Grealish comes in, and you're like, oh, Bernardo's there and Mars is there. Who like are there enough minutes to go around? It's like in reality there are because when you're playing in all the competitions, which is the hope of the club, right? Like we want to win multiple trophies every year. And we were close this year, fell out in the last couple rounds, but like you have the opportunities with the subs that Gareth makes and his flexibility, you have, ample opportunity to continue to like put pressure on teams. And I think this year we're learning a lesson of like just how important it is to score goals, right? Like goal difference matters going up against Chelsea every year. So I feel like maybe this injury to Bunny's it's a blessing in disguise, right? Where like it makes CK have to add something to her game, whereas normally like she never would have. Why would she? Bunny's right there, but Bunny can't always be there, right? And we've had basically 1.9 seasons of healthy Bunny, but hey, things happen, and we knew how to respond from Joe Ward. We got Just Park, and now it's time for like because I think she has the ability to do things. It's just learning on the fly. But obviously coming up against Arsenal, it's going to be a tougher opponent. But I definitely think like with the whole squad, we have enough to get over the hump, and she can definitely be a huge part of that win, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. Yui doing her thing as always. I didn't hear if Alana Kennedy coming out for Kasparai was a tactical or if she was injured again. I'm going to have to look into that. Park, again, I don't want to say she struggled, but she wasn't her herself. But I'm pretty sure she was man marked the entire time. I just don't know. And the only reason why I'm saying I want to see LBB start, Coombs is good. It's just there's just moments she just isn't there. She had some shots, but every single shot was way wide. And I know they're giving her that space, but she feels like that player in basketball that they know they can't shoot past like 25 feet. And so if they ever get the ball, the defense just kind of goes, ha, go for it, go for it. And their coach tells them to take that shot because, you know, you might make it and that will help your defense, but then they miss it and it kind of just like takes the energy from this, all the momentum you have built up. And I felt like that happened a couple times with Coombs, and it was unfortunate. Oh, I wanted to play this because this was shout out to Alexis Monteith. He brought this up. The way that GT talked about Bunny's injury, everybody said she was out for a season, but it's just especially the way that he says it at the end. I don't know.
Obviously, a bit of an issue with Bunny. She sustained a foot injury, which is going to keep her out of the game for certain, potentially longer. So, yeah, of course, it's such a difficult one for Bunny because she's having an incredible season. And, yeah, we had a feeling there might have been an issue when she came off the pitch, even though it was kind of non-contact. But, yeah, she's been well looked after by the medical team. And at this moment in time, we're unfortunately not going to have her for at least this game.
For certain, potentially longer. We won't have her for this match. Like, yeah. I don't know. It was just a lot of like if, ands, or buts, maybes. He didn't sound as definitive as I guess everybody else sounds about it, and that's what excited me. I mentioned how a lot of the goals, the energy completely changed at the half. GT was asked what happened, and it turns out it was Steph Houghton.
Half-time, the way she spoke to the players and the way she drove that performance in the second half made my job so much easier, and huge credit to her because that's not an easy job, you know, but she is really there for the team, and I think that's what I like about this group is everyone really works so hard for each other.
Without going into too much detail, what was Steph saying at half-time to kind of G the team up?
Yeah, it was a few expletives, but it was more around like this opportunity that we've got, and that we're not going to come here and blow it, you know, and blow it by being flat and not ourselves and maybe not showing the right energy. So that was all it was, and like I say, she just captures it at the right time with the right words, and you know the players really respond to her. You know, she's always first there in the team talk, or the last one to speak to the players before they go onto the pitch, and yeah, she's been amazing in that sense. You know, her role this season has changed, of course, but she's done it amazingly well.
Mary Fowler, absolutely amazing this match. Ooh, Brace, player of the match. I have two clips from her. One is on her goal that she scored, the brace, from Hempo's assist.
It was a great ball in. When I saw all the girls running to Hemp, I honestly thought it was one of the ones where like it was already going in and then someone just nips it and they're just a teammate. So I was like, oh, I really hope it wasn't like that.
Oh, when that bleep happened, I was just like, oh, she cursed. I love her so much. Like, she's not me. Those are my favorite players. That she's starting to get the whole like cover girl. She's doing the commercials and stuff. And I love when players curse, especially the English media, because they're always just like, oh, and I cut it out, but he immediately just kept it moving to the next question. But I love the energy. And then second is her on.
You know, I just always try to be
goal.
the best teammate I can be, you know, whether I'm on the field or off the field. You know, and I've waited for my chance to play, and I just wanted to make sure that when I did get my chance that I'd be ready for it. So I'm really happy with how I'm playing at the moment. But, you know, to be honest, the girls around me make that easy for me to do.
Every player, when they're asked for City Women, it's just like, hey, my teammates, though. Yes, I'm great. Thank you for asking me all these things. I feel great. But my teammates, though. My teammates. Every player says that. And before the match, Garrett Taylor was talking about the environment, the locker room, the vibes are immaculate here, and that's what he was saying. And you could really see it brewing last year. You could see that the team was really starting to click, and this year it has hit on another level. Shout out to City Women Twitter; they're fantastic. They're always sharing clips of them hanging out and laughing together, training together, the silly dances and TikToks that they're doing. Chemistry is key to success, and you can see the team's chemistry is 100. It's great. Very proud to root and support these teams. Oh, and lastly, before we get out of Baby Blue Baddies, Sam Mewis had an interview with Bunny Shaw on the women's game, her podcast Friendlies. Truly amazing. If you get time, you should listen to it. I think it's like 45 minutes. It's Bunny from her youth all the way to now. She covers Jamaica. She covers how she became a pro. For people who don't know, Bunny didn't start playing football until she was 13, 14, and was explicitly told not to play and could get in trouble if she was caught playing soccer. To then dealing what she dealt with JFF, and to getting the city and the love for city that she has. It's there. She was talking about the Manchester Derby this year when she scored and became Man City's leading goal scorer. Sam Mewis was like, "Your celebration, you're celebrating in front of the fans." She hit the knee slide. Asked if she knew that was the record scoring goal. Bunny was like, "No, it's the Derby." I was just like, "It's Manchester United, come on!" That passion, the love, coming from a woman who looks like she could be my sister, she could be my cousin. It just hit on a whole other level. Like, I got emotional watching that video after hearing her story, just how much she loves City, what she represents, breaking these records, becoming the face of City, potentially the face of WSL, what she's been through. It's just, man, so many just beautiful story after beautiful story after beautiful story at Manchester City. And I just think these women deserve all of the love, attention, and accolades. Let's get to City Men. Premier League. Brighton. Ederson was in goal. Bardiol, Ake, Kanji, Walker, Rodri, Foden, Kova, KDB, Silva, and Alvarez up top. Some rotation. That's probably going to be, I think Wolves might be when we might get to the time where we're going to start seeing somewhat consistent lineups, hopefully, if this illness stops going around. But with this Brighton match, Valentin Barco, he got his first Premier League start. I saw him in the lineup. I saw, Welbeck up top. I knew we were good. There was not a worry in me at all. If there was, obviously they're really down bad thanks to injuries, but anything's possible in the Premier League. But seeing those players, I wasn't worried. Showbros, what were your thoughts when you saw City's lineup?
I'll start, man. Like that's my favorite four for the back line. It's the most athletic four. I felt like it gives us the best chance on any counters. So once I saw that, yeah, the front six takes care of itself. We knew Holland was out, so Alvarez is going to play. Like it literally picks itself now that Kevin's back and fit. So yeah, it's all about defenders for me, and I was happy to see that we had our guys out there. How did you feel, Tarik?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, there's at this point in the season, there's the the health issues, the injury issues. So that's going to manipulate the lineup some, but outside of that, we kind of get the strongest lineup at times at this point. So I'm with you. I think that's what I expected, probably what I wanted, all things considered. So yeah.
Yeah. In this match, Brighton, it's another club who played City straight up. I gotta shout out them for that. I have to commend those brave, dumb seagulls. When their passing was working, it was beautiful to watch. It had me worried at moments, but it's one of those things. The injuries. If Deserby had a healthy squad, yeah, you can see what he was thinking, what they're trying to do. We felt it last year when we played them. But I will say, the reason why I want to continue to give these teams who come to play us the respect because of the disrespect I felt to Arsenal when they came to the Etihad. Yes, this is at the Amex Stadium, so they should play more open and free. Do you, when you saw that Brighton were going to try to play with us, was that something that like, were you like me where you commended them, or were you like, wow, big dumb by them, Tarik?
No, I mean, I commend them because much like Pep, you have a manager who knows the way that he wants to play, believes in his style, believes in his philosophy, and is going to go out and do that every game. And so I appreciate the fact that they believe in what they do, and they're going to go out there and try to do, and they're going to try to dictate the play every single time they go out. Is that smart against us? Probably not. But I think I said this earlier today. You know, when you play a certain way, let's say 99 times out of 100, to try to switch it up all of a sudden and be something different and do something different is probably worse than just sticking to who you are. So I think that it's probably the best thing on their behalf is just play. Um, so we know what happens, but I give them credit for just trying to be true to who they are.
Brighton, I see everything that United wants to be, right? Which is like you have an identity. You know how your team is going to play. That's all you can really ask for as a supporter. Is like, I know what I'm going to get when my team steps on the pitch from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. Like, we know the pressing, we know the ball retention, we know everybody's involved. Like, it's true total football. I would say if they had more to play for, I think they would definitely be more defensive. But because they're solidly mid-table, there's no reason to switch it, right? You just give it a go and see what can happen. So as much as like I was irritated by Real Madrid and Arsenal and how they play come to the Etihad, the stakes make a lot of sense, right? Like, you can't knock them for the stake for what's at risk. But yeah, like, and we know they could play differently, but yeah, that flexibility wasn't necessary for Brighton. It's like, hey, we're gonna try to do what we do. And like, if you remember last year, even though we made subs because we already won the league, they gave us a great game at the end of the year last year. So like, they can definitely go. And I was happy that we got to see action because that's very necessary at this point of the year.
A lot, like specifically Foden's second goal, which really all I want to talk about is the goals. And there's bits pieces we can talk about. Well, first off, I want to just talk about Ederson's distribution. There are a few, some of those passes he's making in those games, both of them before he went out. But Brighton in particular, he was in his bag with some of those passes. So I just really want to shout him out because he may be done for the season, according to Pat. First goal of the game, that KDB flying header. Wow. Foden with the pass before the pass. Shout out to Tom Bomb. Hitting Walker in stride, who added a new type of cross to his package. What? A little in the air. I didn't even know he could lift the ball up like that. And it just like floated. KDB. Wow. What? Tarik, thoughts? Words? How'd you feel when you saw KDB do that?
It reminded me, and this goes back in, watching all the PL matches throughout the years, but there was a header by Robin van Persie where he kind of it's very similar. It's almost like that fish that's jumping out of the water to kind of get that header on. And so that's kind of the headspace that it put me in. And I was trying to think, wow, have I ever seen KDB with a headed goal? And I think the answer is no. So it was impressive. As it was as impressive as it was somewhat unexpected. Like you said, that combination just it was not what I was expecting. But of course, we'll take them any way we can get them at this point. So, yeah.
That goal was a great advert for millennials. Always evolving and adding things to their bags because, like you said, never seen Kyle Walker do that. Never seen Kevin do that in the Premier League. Well, especially that type of goals never happened. I think his other header was like Real Madrid, 21, 22, 21, but 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he once this man got that haircut, man, like hair is power, bro. The longer the hair, the
Different
better
person.
he got. It's truly incredible.
That was what
And I will
Sonny's
say,
problem was.
there you go. But I will say, like Kyle Walker, the way he had started this match, like not just the assists, in general, right? The first 20, 25 minutes, like the man was back. And to think about where he was 3 weeks ago when he was injured and missed the first leg of Real Madrid, to coming back, playing 120 against Madrid, playing 90 against Chelsea, playing another 90 against Brighton, like he's a freak of nature when it comes to recovery. Because
Yeah.
most players couldn't do that. If it came back, it would be in a substitute role, right? Like, but I think we all should definitely appreciate. And Pep has said it, like his recovery is ridiculous. And like you don't think like, oh, Kyle Walker was injured 3 weeks ago. It's just like, oh, he's Kyle, same old. And so yeah, like I was very pleased that those two got the scoring started.
Foden, the brace boy. First goal of the match from a free kick. Bunch of flinching, scaredy boys. Once again, City able to kind of take advantage of a weak point and a wall. It is what it is. Foden scores. City up too early. City up 2, early. There we go. I mean, again against Brighton, I wasn't too worried about being too early against them, so that's good. Yeah,
I think with this goal, we'd be remiss if we didn't say that it was a terrible decision by the ref. And if that
this
decision
was
had gone against City,
Well,
we'd be pissed.
do we think it was a terrible decision because again, I do think there was a foul, say 2 steps before he actually goes down on his, slips or whatever. So I think bringing it back was probably the right call, but I think if he's gonna do that, he's probably 4 yards further back, 6 yards further back. So yeah, the combination didn't work for me. It's one or the other. It's either further back on the free kick or it's not a free kick. Either one. But when bad things happen against us, people always tell us that it evens itself out over the course of the season. So you just got to chalk it up to just say, it'll even itself out.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's fair. Foden's brace game thanks to Brighton. I mean, shout out to Barco. Him making too many passes, just doing too much. And there is a point where sometimes you just gotta boot that bitch. Just get rid of it. But he didn't. And just imperious pressing. Just I love it. A Walker, Bernardo, just pounding. And then the ball gets loose, gets to Foden, slots it in. It just all kind of feels silly by now. And once we're up 3-0, and there's still plenty of game to go. I don't know. It didn't feel like Brighton were going to score, but I didn't think that City were going to run it up much more. That was all again, that was all that happened in the first half. 3 goals, City looking incredibly dominant and handling things. Does the fact that City are out of the Champions League make City's and I guess this is more tied to actually let's put it this way. Is City the fact that they're out of the Champions League, does this help our inconsistency in our play? Like, because we're not in the Champions League, we don't have to worry about looking good because we don't have to worry about that momentum carrying into a really intense Champions League match, whereas the Premier League, it's points at a time. And in the end, all you need to do is win. You don't necessarily have to win with like brownie points.
I think it's more so for me. It's not about the style or like what it does for the type of play. I think it's just about fatigue and the fact that like this is like you just know that you don't have 3 weeks in a row of midweek matches because it's just a killer between late April into May. Because I'm looking at obviously Real Madrid and like semifinal start this week, so it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you go again, and then we would have had Spurs after that on the next Tuesday. So it's just like so much. It was technically 4 midweeks in a row. It just frees up everybody to like lock in and like just focus on your PL opponent, and I think it makes Pep's job a lot easier too. Like nobody wanted to have to like be here, but if you're here and you don't have to worry about rotation as much, you don't have to worry about managing minutes as much, aside from players that are actually injured. It's just like, hey, I can put my best 11 out there and go get the win. So I think it's just simplicity.
Yeah, I think having the midweek matches is kind of a dual or double-edged sword, if you will, right? On one hand, it's a lot of games, it's a lot of minutes, it's tiring, it's, whatever, right? So you have that, what I would call quote unquote negative piece to it. But on the positive, it keeps people in a rhythm. It keeps people in a kind of a flow as far as on the pitch is concerned, right? So when you take that away, now you're playing every 6 to 7 days, as opposed to every 3 days. You get more rest this way, but at the same hand, you're not in the same rhythm that we've become accustomed to for so many years. Having played as many games as we have over the last 2 years, it's probably just great to just get the guys a break. But it's also somewhat of a, hey, we're not going to be in the same rhythm that we typically are. We're not going to be as polished as maybe we typically are. To Charlie's point about the minutes, the problem is you have people who were probably getting minutes here and there that now aren't getting those minutes. So how do you get the Nunez's minutes? How do you get the, Kova got some coming up? How do all these players get these minutes when you lose a competition? Unless, of course, like you said, people are out sick or something like that. So I think from Pep's standpoint, at this point in the season, you just look at everybody in the face and just tell them, right now, we're just about winning games, winning trophies. You'll get your minutes next season if you don't get them between now and then. But we're just trying to win at this point. It's like being a dad and being an AAU dad, a dad of an AAU athlete. You're paying your money, everybody wants to play, yada yada. But when the game gets to the end, the coach is trying to win the game, and so you're gonna keep your best players on the pitch or on the court in that case. So I think that's kind of the same thing here.
This is very negative to say, but I feel like it's real. Other than Cancelo and Sterling, I don't know in this run, right? This 6 out of 7 potentially winning titles. I don't know of too many other players that have been like outwardly frustrated, right? Like it's never boiled over because most people they are here to win trophies. Like look at Laporte, right? Laporte was a boss, got us the second of the three-peat that we're on now, and then hurt himself in the process and didn't play. But like he was still there for everything when we needed him late in the season, right? Like, so like, your numbers are going to be called. Injuries happen. Like, it's important to be a quality sub. Like, and we'll talk more about the match from today against Forest, right? Like, everybody matters, and I think Pep knows that. And like, looking at the calendar, we still do have that midweek against Spurs, right? So it's another. I think that's a Saturday, Tuesday turnaround, I believe. So it's like, we're still gonna have to worry that, but again, we know how to do it. But it's like, hey, that you're probably gonna be a sub in one of those matches, and so if anything, I think they say with like bench players in the NBA, right? Like, your tape is always out there, and so the camera's always running. So if you play 8 minutes or 18, you better be on your game because you want to keep being called upon. And so like that motivation, that intrinsic motivation for these young players, like Nunes, he's never played in games this meaningful this late in the season in Premier League, right? Like, this is all just like, hey, I just want to get out there and be called upon, or like Oscar Bob or Sergio Gomez. Like, for them to even just get their name to put on a shirt, get out of the big coat and put on a shirt, like, it's a huge honor, I feel like, and that's how those players see it. And so it's the best problem to have.
Pep was actually asked about all of this. Subs, when he benches people, or when he doesn't start players, how does he handle it? Does he conversate with them? And he, it was funny because he goes, I don't care. He was trying to think of a nice way to be like, hey, if I upset them, I upset them. But he couldn't think of a Spanish to English nice way to say it. So he's just like, look, I don't care. They know if they're not going to be starting now, they might play the next match. It's just all on how they take it. And I will never be a same starting 11 every match. And if you take sitting bad one match, yeah, you'll probably sit the next match. But it's because I need your confidence and your mentality all the way there for when I play you. But when he said, I don't care, I lost it watching it because it was just, you could tell he was just like, oh, I don't want to say this, but there's no other way for me to say this. But I don't care. Be mad. I'm the boss. It is what it is. And then finally in the game, Alvarez, his goal, his celebration, he needed that goal. You could tell. The strikers, him, Lan, City, we have a lot of players who are picking up a lot of work that you may say our strikers have been struggling. They haven't had the eye for goal, and our midfield is having to do a lot of the work. And that's okay. But he got it, even if it is a poacher-style goal. It was more being in the right place at the right time than it was, getting the ball, dribbling through people, and sliding the ball past the keeper. But in the end, a goal is a goal. Thoughts on Alvarez's goal? Thoughts on the rest of the match? Just on to the next one, really. That's how I kind of felt about everything, especially once Alvarez's goal went in. Derek?
Yeah, once we got the third goal, I was pretty much like, okay, now we just got to see it out. To their credit, they didn't. We didn't lose concentration. We didn't let our levels drop. We were professional. We saw out the clean sheet, picked up another goal along the way. But at that point, it was just like, let's just get to the end. We don't want anyone hurt. We don't want anyone to just, like I said, let concentration levels drop. We just want to get to the end, move on to the next one, and it's just you checking off. Charlie is a teacher, so I don't know if he actually has a physical calendar, but I bet you he knows exactly how many days are left in the school year because my wife does and my kids do, and they're mentally checking off days. So for us, we're just checking off games. How many games we need to win till we get to this title. So check it off, and move on to the next one.
Yes, sir.
For me, it was back-to-back clean sheets because we kept a clean sheet against Chelsea, tight 1-0 match in the FA Cup semifinals. On the road, they had, of course, like, chances always happen. I hate when like pundits are like, but City concedes chances. Every club concedes chances. it's really hard to not have shots. People are gonna play, like especially when they're down 4-0. They literally, I think João Pedro was trying to get that consolation goal, really hard, but we kept it. I love that. The biggest thing for me after the goal was that Pep used all 5 subs, Grealish, Nunez, and then the short king triplets of Daku, Lewis, and Gomez. And once the short kings came on, I was hyped. I was like, yes, I get them for basically about 12 to 15 minutes. I can't wait. And they probably like what I love about all those subs is that they can start for me in a match. If we had to rotate and let's say like we were still in Champions League and we needed to start them versus Fulham, I would have confidence in them, like at their positions to do a job, to be professional, to be aggressive, to play the ball we play. Like I trust every player that Pep plays. Like there's not a play like since Calvin left, there's not a player I'm like, ooh, don't come on the pitch, please don't. It's like no, like everybody can do the job, and that's a
From
great
the
feeling. So,
start, though.
Yeah, why not? Rico's done it. Sergio's done it. They've all done it. They've all started.
Yeah, I'm talking about at this point in the season. And again, this is this is how you feel. So, neither here nor there. But I mean, just being honest, I don't know that I would. If we're saying, oh, we could rotate and all those players would start, not for me. But I respect what they do. I respect what they bring to the table. But I would not be comfortable putting them in a starting lineup at this point in the season with these next 5 or 6, however many matches we have left. No.
No, not this season.
Oh,
Not
okay.
not
fair.
like now. I'm saying like if we had Champions League still, and we had to rotate before the second leg, and we got to play Fulham on the weekend. We need
I
to
don't
play.
think we
We
would
need to
do
rest
that.
people.
I wouldn't do that because we got to win both, and we would be trying to win both competitions, and I would see that as almost conceding. Now, if we didn't have anybody because people are hurt and we just don't have any other choice, it is what it is. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I just don't know that I would.
This just in. Tarik says Sergio Gomez, Rico Lewis, and Oscar Bob are trash.
I didn't say names, and I didn't say names, but since you're saying it, I mean, Sergio's the guy that I wouldn't be comfortable with. I would be fine with Rico.
Oh yes,
I wouldn't. I don't feel comfortable with Sergio.
Oh no, the second Sergio Gomez comes on the pitch, it's just chaos. It's so chaotic. It's that end of the match was real fun. I definitely thought, and like you said, Sharpie, shout out to Brighton. They never backed down, especially when those subs came on. Those subs, you definitely saw Brighton up their intensity. They thought that this was a chance for them to sneak a goal or two. They didn't. So shout out to them. I do have Pep. He was asked about Phil, and Pep just had to reiterate some things, get some stuff off his chest.
Said many times, Phil have a 6 gear, but he cannot play all the time with 6 gear. Had to play with the second and the third. And I think with the time he will learn that today was much better than the 2 or 3 days before. Everything is wanted so quick. No. Football has to say sometimes slower, to make quicker after, to surprise the opponent. But it's question of time. He will understand the game through years and years and experiences, and it's going to take it because he loves to play, and of course the sense of goal is there, and his work ethic is unbelievable, how he runs and presses and do it, and yeah, in that terms we are really pleased and happy for him and congratulate him, and hopefully he can, in the last month we have ahead of us, he doesn't stop. Listen, I would love to go in 6 gear every single action, but after you are less precise and you are 6 gear and lose the ball all the time, that is not effective. And sometimes you have to reduce the moment, because the moments he has to know when he has to be aggressive and has to be more calm. But it's question of time. He improved a lot in that terms for the beginning of the season and the previous seasons. So maybe with the third kid is coming in his family, maybe we'll help him.
A little joke at the end. Yeah, and that's it. Still needs to slow down a little bit at moments, but it'll get there. Nottingham Forest. This match, bruh. This fucking match, bruh. We talked about it during the kickoff show. We knew it was going to be annoying. It was going to be tough. Nottingham Forest, they're going to come and attack us on the counter. We know City, if you're going to get us, it's on the counter. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's get to the lineup. Sorry, I just having flashbacks. I'm just happy we were able to pull it together at the end. Well, shout out to Josco in that header. But Erlin. So Ederson at goal. Oh man, I just remembered about Ederson again. Got sad. Ederson, Vardiol, Ake, Akanji, Walker, Rodri, Grealish, Silva, KDB, Daku, and Alvarez up top. There's some illnesses. Had a couple of our players down bad. I mean, it's Nottingham Forest. We know what they're going to try to do. This lineup is a good lineup. This is what we wanted to see, right? Like, was there a tweak on this lineup that you would have wanted to see?
Not for me. With the two illnesses, I think because I do think Diaz would have started if he was fit, and I know Foden would have definitely kept his place. So not the worst thing in the world to have to bring in those replacements.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, I will always have Phil on the pitch if he's healthy, but he's not. So it is what it is. I think this was again a case of this is the best that we have. Let's roll with it and let's go. Seeing Holland on the bench again says he's working his way back to fitness. The fact that he didn't start says that Pep's doesn't think that he's there yet. And so wanting to roll with Alvarez. So yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. This is a rock'em, knock'em, sock'em type of game. The goal that we scored in the first half was from a set piece. And I tweeted, that was the only way we were going to score our first goal, I think, because our players, they were making the confident passes. They were being brave in the runs. They just, for some reason, couldn't figure out how to break down what Nottingham was trying to do. And Bernardo, he struggled, but again, he was asked to help nullify Nottingham's press. He was like stepping back as like a third center back at times to help Rodri. And then he'd have to help control the ball through the press and then get his way up the pitch for to be a midfielder. And he just had to keep doing that. And when we lose the ball, then you have to press. Then we'd finally get the ball, so you have to sprint back. Him playing in midfield to do what he does now, I feel like it's just as annoying as Bernardo as a right winger, knowing that he's going to be a midfielder, because Bernardo's a midfielder, but he's being used as like a faux defender. I don't know. It's just, was there anything in particular that any of you saw that made sense to you as to why we were struggling so much?
So I was gonna make this note at the end, but I read that Kyle Walker raised a concern with the referee about the state of the pitch, and the fact that it was just as dry as it was, super dry, which of course affects the way the ball moves. We love it when it's wet and slick because then the ball fizzes around the pitch a little bit better. It felt like there were a lot of passes that came up short. And we gave the ball away because passes don't quite get where they're supposed to go, or they get intercepted. And I could see how that could be. I normally pass the ball with this weight on it, and now the pitch is dry, so that doesn't get where I thought it was going to go, and so we end up turning the ball over. But that's one of those things that you only say, or you only make known if you win, because again, you don't want to complain about that when you're losing. But outside of that, I just think, you know, we're not going to always have our best performances. And being able to win without a best performance, I think, is really what oftentimes separates us from so many other teams and is really truly the market champions.
So, Crunk, if I may, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to
Please.
answer like this. I want to look back to what we did last year, right? If you go back to late April, with some of the results we had in the run-in, when all three competitions were going for the treble, some may forget we had a tough 2-1 win at Fulham on April 30th of 2023. We also had a very tough 2-1 win against Leeds United on May 6th, a week later. And then the Chelsea match on May 21st was a 1-0 tough win, but I think that was literally the day we found out we won the title because Arsenal had lost. So, you know, it was whatever. But my point is, with those other two matches against Leeds and Fulham, Leeds, who went on to get relegated, Fulham, who I believe was bottom half of the table last year, matches are just tough, right? Like, we cannot, like, it was a nice run. I think I said on the kickoff show, it would have been like 4 matches in a row in the Premier League with 4+ goals had we done it. But that's really hard to do. And sometimes not sometimes, in April, in May, the points are all that matters. And so to go up at half, 1-0, it was glass half full for me. It was like, hey, they had chances. Thank God they're terrible. And we hit our chance with our beautiful giant left back, center back. With a beautiful header from the guy with the beautiful hair. Like, it was a beautiful half to me. Like, I don't find negatives now. I'm past that. If it's February, if it's January, okay, we're not looking good. We're not in good form. No, good form is winning. That's the only form that matters to me. And so this doesn't make for great content, but it's not like, as a supporter, I am just supporting the fact that we had a lead at half. If we were down 0-0 at half, I think I would be I would have been far more worried. But knowing we were up 1-0, knowing Haaland was on the bench and he was definitely going to play, I was like, okay, as long as we get that second goal before they get a first, because I didn't expect the clean sheet once I started seeing how the match went. I was like, okay, they're gonna get one, so let me just hopefully we can get the second one first. Yeah, it was beautiful.
We were for sure lucky to get out of that first half up one, with the lead up 1-0, because they had 2 really big chances in front of goal. But again, to your point, it's all that matters is a scoreboard at this point. So, yes, we were lucky. Yes, we, rode our chances, but we'll take it every day.
Yeah, it was later in the match, but I remember one of the announcers basically saying Nottingham Forest have a higher XG than Man City in the match, even though they were losing. And yeah, it was just an incredibly frustrating match. Erling Haaland, thank goodness, you beautiful, beautiful man, for coming on and immediately hitting the razzle dazzle. That goal that he scored, there was some like hezzy, some step overs. He was doing a little ah. So to me, that's a sign that Haaland's feeling healthy, because really these last few weeks he would just get the ball and he would just kind of just try to run straight and knock people out of the way. If he's stepping over, he's cutting, he's doing things like that, that's a good sign. That is who we are going to need to finish out the season.
I think there's also a sign that, like, we had training, and that's something you lose when you're playing most times you don't have it, but like in between, before the Brighton match, like obviously we didn't train over the weekend because we were going away or whatever, but during that week between Monday and Wednesday, we had training sessions. Like, that's huge, right? And like I think they had a light session on Saturday when we started. Holland was like with the team, so it's like it helped. You could see skills being developed. You see people being sharper. Like, look at Kevin's passing. You could see, like, okay, these guys are able to, like, honestly, I think it's have that mental break, man. Like, everybody wants a treble every year, but there's a reason you don't win one every year. And so the years like this one, where you don't even have to worry about May coming up, like, I think it's just such an easier task to just know that, like they always said, these are finals. Every match is a final for us, and we do pretty damn well in finals under Pep. And so like that mentality, it has everybody clicking. And I think obviously he was running at a tired defense too, right? Like that defense had been defending for their life for 60 minutes. Now you got Erling coming on. Like, yeah, I can only imagine the stress of those center backs. Like, really? This is unfair. Like, it's like playing FIFA Ultimate Team. Why do you have Holland coming off the bench? I don't like this. I am tired. And you can see it. And that's why he scored in the first 10 minutes. Like, they were just done. And Kevin's ball was just sublime.
Yeah.
The negative of the first half, of course, the play on the pitch, but then Ederson getting hurt. See him at the end of the game, see him with his arm in a sling, so you don't know what actually happened, what the injury is. I don't know, but doesn't look good. So that was negative for me in that first half. When Pep made the halftime substitutions, I personally did not think that Daku was the one to take off. We made the Daku sub, brought Kovacic on, put Bernardo to the right. I actually would have probably taken Grealish off, let Doku cook on the left. But you just said something, I think it was Charlie, you just said something about Holland coming in and running at the tired defense. We've seen Doku is like deadly in that closer spot that he's like that Mariano Rivera coming in as the closer and just killing dead, just like if you're already tired and you see that man come on the pitch, you just like you just drop your head because you know it's going to be a bad day for you. So I because we started him, I didn't want him to take him off. I wanted him instead to take Grealish off. Grealish ends up coming off shortly thereafter, but I like I said, I didn't like. I didn't say I didn't like. It's not the sub that I would have gone for. Vardiol gets that. I don't want to say goal line save because it wasn't on the line, but it was close. He's standing in the mouth of the goal and it's the clearance out. So, again, I didn't think we played great in the first half. I thought the start of the second half was also extremely poor. When you have these substitutions that are made at halftime, you question, are these players up to the speed of the game, coming in cold, I guess. But again, it's really just about getting across the line. I questioned if the poor performance, is it related to just because we're tired? Is it related to, hey, we're only up 1-0 and we know that we could have been down. We're starting to feel the pressure of the title race. And it's like, we gotta improve. Don't know what that looks like, but when you can bring Holland off the bench and he gets that goal, it's just like, oh, okay, now everything is settled down again, and when we feel comfortable. But before that, it was some nervy times for sure.
I just want to add quick before I know about to be done. I just want to say that, like, I thought, even though I didn't want Daku, never want Daku to leave, I love him. We looked so much more fluid in that first, like up until the first goal, right? Like that first 20 minutes of the second half, 25 minutes, I thought it just looked better. And I think because Kova can take that responsibility, like you said, Crunk, you mentioned how Bernardo was doing all the stuff that wasn't so much going forward and attacking and all that. Now Kova, that's his job. Right? He does that. He pushes forward, he carries, he'll move us out the side with Rodri, gets us in the right pockets. And there was a point where I don't know if it came later in the second half, they were just not toying with Nottingham Forest, but you could just see we are going to possess this ball for a while. Like, we are not worried about scoring. I think if we needed to score another goal, if we needed a third, we probably could have gotten it. But they were like, no, we're just going to pass this around for a minute and make you get more tired and run. because we are not trying to make this. We're trying to take all the drama out of the game. This is when you can say City's boring. City up 2-0, 71st minute and later, it's supposed to be boring. Boring is good. Ask Arsenal. Arsenal would have loved to have been boring today, and it
I was
was
gonna
not
say
boring.
after the first half that we had and the chances that we gave up, we needed to make it boring. It was like I said, it's not good for my heart to see the ball bouncing at on the line and around the line and just like did they get a foot on it? No, they didn't. Thankfully, it was yeah. I'm not built for that, man. I need some pausa. Me and Pep need that pausa. We're old men. We got gray hair. We need that pausa. So yeah, I needed them to be boring in moments today.
Shout out to Chris Wood. There were multiple should have been goals, but he is Chris Wood and just couldn't figure it out. Whiffing, like tap ins that he's literally trying to tap in it just wasn't good. Nottingham Forest had just even a slightly better players in key positions like striker, we would have been in big trouble because those boys on the edge, those hyphen name players in midfield, they were killing it. And it's unfortunate that this team is struggling because of the points deduction, because they really are playing some good football, and I would love to see them in the Premier League longer. Post-match, Pep said this.
So today was the coin. The game was in danger. But of course, during 38 games and the amount of games that we have, I knew the game would be like that. But they respond well, and in that moment, of course, the win is the most important thing, but not now. In September, October, November, December, and every game we play, the most important thing is the result. For us, because we live better, and because all of you judge results, not performance. But today the performance was not really good. The last season, you say that. Now you're going to make a lot of compliments. If you want to read the newspapers after the game last season we played here, and how difficult it was, and we played 1,000 times much better. But we equalized at the end. We missed, 6 clear chances. And this season we're more closer than draw than the last season. But today the compliments we show how character, personality from Manchester City and his players. I know it's going to happen that.
That character is from Manchester City and the players. I love Spicy Pep. He's so funny. Oh man, I love it. I mean, and he has a point. They're gonna say City won, and they'll spin it to make it seem better. But you were saying it earlier in this episode, Sharpie, Arsenal, they're the ones who technically struggled more than City, but you really, at least scoreline wise, but you wouldn't be able to tell by the way that media were gassing up those Gunners.
Oh, and with that, they did the same shit they did against us, except Arsenal, as you do this, my bad.
Hey, we're on the same page. Go for it.
Yeah, I just want to give some love to Spurs, because Spurs played, and you could tell they're going after fourth, right? Like they have games in hand on Aston Villa, and they really wanted to try to get a point after going down 3-0 at half. So that second half, to see them get a goal, we were doing a kickoff show, and it's like, oh, okay, 3-1. Wait, the homie in the chat was like, the comments like, oh no, they got a second, and it's only 87 minutes, and we know with extra time you can get a quick 5 extra. So it's a lot of time left after that penalty by Son. So it's unfortunate that Spurs couldn't get a third to equalize, but I like the pressure they put on Arsenal. And they play how they play. Like they made some mistakes in the first half. Spurs Arteta basically went Jose Mourinho. It was just peak counterattack football, which again is smart because you know that Spurs is more open. And so you can attack with your people, and they did it well. I just want to say, last thing I'm gonna say is this: Arsenal's not losing the rest of the year. Like they're going to run the table, because they got Bournemouth at home. United sucks. and they play Everton the last day of the season, and Everton has nothing to play for. So this was the match that they had to get past. They did it. Spurs gave them everything they had, and they're going to be a nice, lovable number 2, just like last year and like Liverpool was. Like, this is so cute. I love when we have a team that's like, oh, people want to win so bad, and it's like, nope, just not good enough. Should have played harder at the Etihad.
Yeah, and it's just about us continuing to, handle our business. Again, we've positioned ourselves where we are in the lead, whether by 1 point or 18, doesn't really matter. We just got to maintain that lead, get across the line. Doesn't matter how we do it. Get across that line, get 4 in a row or a quadruple or whatever. I kill myself.
I'm not fighting it. At least this week. Maybe next week I'll.
Good. But if we've moved over into shock, awe, and applause, because I heard the little sound bite, then I would say I need to give. Well, I want to go back to the City women for a minute and say that we now have a 6-point lead over Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, have 2 games in hand. They've got to play 5th place Liverpool, last place Bristol City, 6th place Tottenham, 4th place Man U. All of those, with the exception of Bristol City, are away. So if there's ever going to be a slip, they got to play 4th, 5th, and 6th place teams. So there's still hope that they drop more points. Whereas we have 2 matches left, and we just got to try to hang on to the title, hang on to the trophy. We go up against the 3rd place Arsenal at home, and then we have 7th place Aston Villa away. It is right there. Don't want to drop it. It's right there in our hands. Shifting gears, talking about dropping and quote unquote bottling, to use an English phrase. Liverpool have fallen completely out of the title race, having lost 2-0 to the crosstown rivals Everton, and our boys at West Ham getting us that 2-2 draw always come through for us in the clutch when we need them. So big ups to West Ham for taking 2 points off of Liverpool and officially putting them out of the title race.
Baby, let's go. Yeah, and shout out to my no watch Liverpool streak working. I did break my Arsenal one, so I apologize. Well, I'll run that back. I just new streak. 0 days since I haven't watched an Arsenal, but 1 tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just proud of Manchester City Football Club. Honestly, that's who I want to give my applause to. Just handling business like bosses. Can you imagine City men and women winning the title together? I say they should do a double train, like a double bus parade, like men and women, and just have them celebrate together, have them mix on buses and stuff like that. There's no reason for them to not. Like, I don't want to separate it because I think just have them celebrate together, champions together. It'd be beautiful, and we could just pack everybody out, same club, same passion. And that'd be a great way to prove it, show it off. Yeah. Oh, we need this to happen. We need this to happen. I can truly say Manchester City are the best club in the world.
Well, you can truly say that right now. You don't need to wait for the trophy, but the trophy just seals it for everybody else.
Yes, exactly. Well, great episode show, bros. We will be back Wednesday for Breaking Bread. And then Thursday, we got shows for you, baby. Sharpie, Tarik. Tarik, we'll start with you. Let listeners know where they can find you on social media.
At Tarik Peterson, Tarik Peterson, at Tarik Peterson on Threads and on Twitter.
You can find me at Sharpie Charlie on Twitter.
Follow us at Shades of Blue NW. Shades of Blue NW on Twitch, Twitch, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things. We are there. And you know the vibes. Shady Gang, Shady Gang, Shady Gang. 6 Point Sunday.